One Raven fans, Oriole fans, thank you for joining us here on the Ravery Sports Podcast for fans like me. Like and subscribe with our growing numbers in the YouTube space, in the Twitter space, in the Rumble space nowadays. So thank you very much for joining us. And I'm sure, like all of you, are ready to call it regular season, as we just had the last regular season game for the Ravens here as well. Ravens actually are victorious in this one. Not close. Not in doubt in this one here. Ravens 35-10 over the Brownies. 35-10 victory in M&T Bank Stadium today over Cleveland. Not much here to talk about as far as X and O's. We're going to go over it, obviously, but a lot of looking forward to do. A lot of business to take care of that's coming up here. Ravens are now Browns first team to complete their entire season, not going to the playoffs. Ravens now in the playoffs at home after winning the division. So 35-10 Ravens over the Browns today. A little bit of business. Genesis Notary Services live stream is coming up on January 20th, 2025. So definitely, if you are in the Shenandoah Valley area, we're going to go over our notary business and we'll go over all that information as well. Our MLB preseason predictions video is coming in March, the Sunday before the season starts. We're going to go over all the teams in the MLB, do preseason predictions. Happy to go over that with you. See Charles Harris. We are Legal Shield. Definitely, if y'all are looking for Legal Shield in the Shenandoah Valley and in the really anywhere with the Legal Shield. Definitely the value of it is tremendous. A lot of you can get value from Legal Shield, getting a lawyer at your fingertips, especially you business owners out there like me. You need to call a lawyer, you need to do that. Definitely, that is a great value for that here as well. Also, definitely check us out here, RaverySports.company.site. Lamar jersey rocking it because we are now winning the division as well. So definitely check that out for the Ravens. Okay, so let's get the ball rolling here as well. Uh, First thing, it was cold. I don't need to tell you if you live here on the East Coast and you watch the game, it was cold. Temperatures make it tough. I think like this is one of the most deceptive type games to watch on television or streaming or whatever because it doesn't visually look any different in a lot of ways. But let me tell you that when it's 10 degrees, the wind was howling. Shout out to you fans out there at M&T Bank, out there in the freezing temperatures. You know it. So it was cold. Derrick Henry took about a first half to get going. Took a while. Both sides, guys, slow to get up. It's tackled. These are January football conditions. They look okay. It did take more my concern in those conditions. How well does Lamar play in those conditions? It took a while to get going. But again, January football today was big. Good test of it. A medal for that. Zay Flowers, they're going to definitely need him going into the playoffs. So Zay Flowers went out with the knee injury here in 18. He's going to have an MRI. We don't know yet. I don't think we know yet as far as anything. I haven't seen anything one way or the other. They didn't play him in the rest of the game, which obviously makes sense. You take your chance on this one. Hopefully, you can have him in the playoff game or at least at the game following, etc. It didn't look that terrible. It's easy, obviously, for me to sit up on television and say, okay, well, it didn't look that bad. It didn't look terrible, but they're going to have an MRI, get him checked out. We'll see what goes on with Zay. And look, Ravens waited 26 years. Shout out to EDC and John Harbaugh. You wait 26 years to get a Pro Bowl wideout on your team. And yeah, you're going to need them in the playoffs. So definitely shout out to them for getting that taken care of as well. All the concern about the pass rush. We've criticized the pass rush. We've talked bad about the pass rush they need. I see it all the time. Well, you need to get a pass rushers. Well, Kyle Van Noy and Odafe Oweh both get double-digit sacks. Oweh with his 10th sack today got out. Shout out to him. Look, got it done. That was big for that 10 sack mark. Is good for a player contract and everything going forward, market value, etc. He actually got it. Kyle Van Noy, terrific. I think he had his 12th today. I think 12 or 12 and a half total. Fantastic. Defense was fantastic up front. Fantastic for the most part all season. The problems the Ravens had defensively were usually on the back end. Marcus Williams and Andy Jackson. The corners, Brandon Stevens, not quite as good, but up front, terrific. Madubuike did a lot of double team, doubled and tripled a lot, played well. You saw Michael Pierce get the interception, take the knee immediately afterwards because he's 300 pounds. The outside guys, Trent Simpson, a little disappointing, I think, out of everybody. The starters, Roquan, another Pro Bowl for him. Kyle Hamilton, Pro Bowl for him. Darius, I think, might have played his way into an extension. We'll see about that. So great stuff. Marlon Humphrey, too. I got to mention Marlon. Great again today. Nate Wiggins getting the pick 6. So defense getting better at the right time overall. A lot of concern about the pass rush. They tighten that up. A lot of concern about the secondary. They tighten that up here as well. So good stuff all the way around there. Lamar Jackson was sensational, period. I don't know if he wins the MVP. I think there is true this year. Saquon Barkley's been terrific. Joe Burrow down the stretch is putting up awesome numbers. And Josh Allen has been fantastic. Um, so I don't know if he wins MVP. I'll say this. This is the best he's ever been this season. He was fantastic. Best I've ever seen in Ravens history. Sensational. I think like even great players get better. That's what we saw. Looking now downfield consistently, actually putting more touch and accuracy on the deep ball with him. He used to just throw balls on the line, throwing teardrop better than ever. I thought he was fantastic all season long. Now, with that being said, some of it was he had more help. Like you have a Derrick Henry, you had a Zay Flowers develop. You still have a Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, whatever. Pat Ricard, Project Pat, getting his business done with a catch almost in the goal line. So he's had more weapons. Line, I think, has been questionable, but even that, I think they shored up or at least know how to do that. Right side was terrible in the year. They got better during the course of the year. I think Lamar was terrific, sensational. I mean, guys, I almost feel silly even saying it because we know this, but Lamar improved his game exponentially. So he was fantastic. So even in his other MVP seasons, I thought this was excellent by Lamar, sensational. Quick on the Browns, bad. They must be. I'm in shock. They're gonna go back to Deshaun Watson next year. I mean, that's just wild as well. Nothing today. They barely showed up. I mean, Bailey Zappi kind of was what I thought he was. At least he can make intermediate passes. DTR is not a passer. He can get him some rush yards. They didn't play Jerome Ford or Pierre Strong today. They didn't have Nick Chubb. Jerry Jeudy, I think, was the only guy that actually showed up to play football on offense. The line isn't terrible. Their defense actually isn't super horrible in Cleveland. I think they got wore down because you had no offense at all. So I think there is some help there. The problem is Garrett wants out. He's getting tired of his brains being in. He doesn't think the team is going anywhere. Certainly, if you're going to keep Sean Watson, I don't blame him for not wanting to stay. So I don't know how much you can tell behind that. I can say this. They got the business done. I think they didn't look as good as they had hoped. But look, they won 35-10. I think they would have I think they would have liked to do even better, get the starters out earlier and going about their business as well. So, but they got it done. And so they are now the champions of the AFC North this season. So that is the 8th time the Ravens have won the division. They have now won it for the 2 consecutive seasons.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Right. So that is the 2nd consecutive season for the Ravens winning the division. So it doesn't matter what Pittsburgh. Look, they got the first game. I think they might have been resting players. I do think like it was kind of strange that they were first. I think the only reason they put the 2 AFC North games on Saturday, I'm thinking the only reason they were first simply because I think the Steelers are more of a national draw for an 8 o'clock game. Because it really didn't make sense. Why wouldn't you have the Steelers, who are behind the Ravens, play earlier? But I think that was probably the reason for that. But hey, it's done. Ravens are in the playoffs. We'll definitely talk about that next week on the podcast, and we will absolutely talk about it when we have an instant reaction next weekend. It'll be the Chargers or the Steelers, definitely. So the Steelers are not going to win the division. They've already made the playoffs as a wild card. So have the Chargers. They've already made it as a wild card. I'm obviously not watching the Steelers right now. I don't know if they're resting players. They should. But we will see what time that the Ravens play. I'm thinking it's going to be Saturday. That's also, I think, probably a reason why they did this one on Saturday. So I'm thinking it could be a Saturday game this week. But we don't know until the schedule comes out. as well after the games on Sunday night. So we will know exactly what the full playoff field is. One last thing, I definitely want to thank all of you definitely for watching. This year we had our highest viewed video ever on Drive to the Top Productions. So thank you for joining us over there. I premiere the videos on my channel, and then we go ahead like this one we're watching at Drive to the Top Productions. Thank Hurricane and all those guys for allowing me to do this as well. We got more business. We got a playoff game next week, and we're definitely going to go over that on the Ravery Sports Podcast. Thank you very much for joining us here on the podcast. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.